Kody Brown has never been one to hold back his emotions, but his latest revelation may be his most unfiltered yet. In a jaw-dropping moment, the Sister Wives patriarch opened up about the years of criticism and backbiting that have plagued his plural marriage, tearing down the carefully crafted image of a united family. With the cameras rolling, Kody admitted that the behind-the-scenes battles and relentless negativity were far more destructive than fans ever realized, leaving viewers stunned as he exposed the raw truth about what really went on inside the Brown household. For years, Sister Wives has been one of reality television's most dramatic portraits of family life, exposing not only the intricacies of polygamy, but also the raw emotions that come with jealousy, rivalry, and fractured trust. At the center of it all is Kody Brown, the patriarch whose dream of maintaining a large, united plural family has steadily collapsed in front of millions of viewers. With each season, tensions escalated, accusations flew, and the wives who once pledged to share a life together slowly walked away one by one. But now, in a moment that has left fans stunned and the Brown family reeling, Kody has exploded with a furious admission that he has had enough of what he calls the relentless backstabbing and criticism that have poisoned his household. The raw honesty of his words and the sheer frustration behind them mark one of the most dramatic turning points in the show's long history, raising questions about whether the Browns can ever recover or if Kody's empire has finally crumbled beyond repair. The confession came during what began as a tense but controlled conversation with producers. Viewers have grown accustomed to Kody's defensive tone, his tendency to shift blame, and his fierce insistence that he has done everything possible to keep his family together. But this time, the patriarch's composure cracked in spectacular fashion. His voice rose, his face flushed with anger, and in a torrent of words that could not be contained, he lashed out at the years of what he described as betrayal, gossip, and endless criticism from the women he once considered partners. He accused them of undermining him behind his back, of twisting his words, and of fueling a narrative that painted him as a selfish, controlling husband while ignoring the sacrifices he claims to have made for the family. This explosion was not merely a passing moment of temper. It was the culmination of years of mounting resentment, years in which Kody felt the wives formed alliances against him, whispered their frustrations to one another, and presented a united front of dissatisfaction while isolating him as the villain. To Kody, this pattern was not just a natural consequence of plural marriage, but a deliberate effort to erode his authority and tarnish his reputation, both within the family and in the public eye. The language he used was scathing, and the pain in his voice suggested that the betrayal he feels is as personal as it is public. For a man who once prided himself on being the head of a spiritually bound household, the sting of perceived backstabbing cuts deep. The timing of his explosion could not be more dramatic. With Christine already remarried and thriving in a new life, with Janelle asserting her independence, and with Mary walking away after years of emotional neglect, Kody finds himself increasingly isolated. Robin remains the last wife by his side, yet even her presence has done little to soothe the storm. Instead, her loyalty has fueled accusations that she is the root cause of division, that she encouraged favoritism, and that she stood silently while the family fractured. Kody's tirade against backstabbing therefore rings with an air of desperation, a final attempt to seize control of a narrative that has been slipping through his fingers. By framing himself as the victim of betrayal, he seeks to rewrite the story of the Browns from one of patriarchal dominance to one of a man undone by the very women he sought to love. But the wives, both past and present, see things very differently. Christine has long argued that Kody's favoritism toward Robin, his unwillingness to meet her emotional needs, and his tendency to dismiss her voice left her no choice but to leave. She has spoken openly about how painful it was to watch her children feel neglected, about the years she spent yearning for a husband who seemed increasingly distant. To her, the accusation of backstabbing is little more than deflection, a way for Kody to avoid acknowledging the choices that drove her away. Mary, too, has rejected the idea that she undermined Kody, pointing instead to his repeated rejection and the coldness that defined their relationship for years. Janelle has been more measured, but she has not hesitated to point out that Kody's rigid demands and unwillingness to compromise created an environment where open communication was impossible. The heart of the conflict lies in how each member of the family defines loyalty. For Kody, loyalty appears to mean unwavering support, silence in the face of disappointment, and a united front no matter how difficult the circumstances. For his wives, loyalty means honesty, communication, and the freedom to express dissatisfaction without fear of reprisal. These opposing definitions have collided again and again, creating a cycle of accusation and defensiveness that has now erupted into Kody's public fury. By labeling their criticisms as backstabbing, Kody not only dismisses their grievances, but also reframes their pain as betrayal. It is a tactic that may garner sympathy from some, but risks alienating those who see his wife's actions as acts of self-preservation rather than sabotage. The children, too, are deeply entangled in this storm. Over the years, many of them have voiced their own frustrations with their father, from feeling neglected to resenting his perceived favoritism of Robin's children. When Kody now rails against backstabbing, it raises uncomfortable questions about whether he includes his children in that accusation. Some of them have taken their mother's side publicly, while others have chosen silence, but the generational impact of Kody's explosion cannot be underestimated. For the older children especially, watching their father accuse their mothers of betrayal may only deepen the chasm that already exists between them. For fans, this moment represents both a climax and a vindication. Many have long speculated that Kody's resentment towards his wives was simmering just below the surface, waiting to boil over. His latest outburst provides the clearest evidence yet that the patriarchal balance he once claimed to maintain was never truly sustainable. Social media erupted in response, with viewers expressing both shock at the ferocity of his words and validation that their suspicions of Kody's true feelings were correct. Some sympathized with his frustration, acknowledging that being criticized by multiple partners for years could drive anyone to a breaking point. Others condemned him for once again painting himself as the victim, while ignoring the emotional toll his actions have taken on those around him. The producers of Sister Wives could not have scripted a more dramatic development. Reality television thrives on explosive confrontations, on moments when the carefully maintained balance collapses in spectacular fashion. Yet, this was no scripted scene. The rawness of Kody's anger, the way his words spilled out without polish or control, underscored the authenticity of the moment. It was as real as reality TV gets, a patriarch not in command, but unraveling under the weight of years of conflict. For the show, it provides a powerful narrative arc, but for the family, it represents wounds that may never heal. In a broader sense, Kody's explosion highlights the inherent challenges of polygamy in the modern world. The ideal of plural marriage rests on the principles of unity, equality, and shared faith, but the lived reality is far more complicated. Jealousy, competition, and unequal affection are almost impossible to avoid. Kody's fury at what he calls backstabbing reveals not just the flaws of one man, but the deeper fault lines of the system itself. It raises the question of whether any man can truly maintain multiple marriages without creating resentment, and whether the dream of harmony is more illusion than reality. Despite the fury of his words, there is also a clear note of pain in Kody's outburst. Beneath the anger lies a man who feels abandoned, misunderstood, and stripped of the authority he once wielded. For all his bravado, Kody's confession that he has had enough suggests a breaking point. It suggests a man no longer willing or able to keep up the facade of control, a man whose vision of family has collapsed in ways he cannot mend. The vulnerability of that truth may be overshadowed by the volume of his anger, but it remains a powerful reminder that even those who project strength can be undone by the weight of their own failures. As the dust settles, the question remains, what comes next for Kody Brown and the family he once sought to unite? Can he rebuild any semblance of a relationship with his estranged wives and children, or has the bridge been burned beyond repair? Will Robin continue to stand by his side in the face of mounting criticism, or will even she find the burden too heavy to bear? For viewers, the future of Sister Wives is now more uncertain than ever, but also more compelling, because at its heart, this story is no longer just about polygamy or family. It's about the unraveling of a man who believed he could defy the odds, only to discover that betrayal, whether real or perceived, is the most powerful force of all.
For years, the Brown family has been synonymous with plural marriage, drama,
and the complicated dynamics that come with living life under the microscope of reality television. Fans of TLC's hit show Sister Wives have followed the ups and downs of Kody Brown and his 4 wives as they tried to make their unique family structure work. But beneath the carefully edited episodes and the family's attempts to present unity, tensions have been brewing for years. Now, Kody Brown has finally broken his silence in one of his most candid admissions ever, pulling back the curtain on what he describes as relentless backbiting and brutal criticism from inside and outside the family. His confession has not only shocked longtime viewers, but has also reignited questions about the real reasons the Brown family unraveled so dramatically. Kody Brown has always been a polarizing figure. To some, he was the charismatic head of a large and fascinating family that challenged conventional ideas of marriage. To others, he was the controlling husband who played favorites and failed to treat his wives equally. Throughout the run of Sister Wives, critics have accused him of selfishness, poor communication, and a tendency to place his own desires above the needs of the women he married. But for the first time, Kody is publicly acknowledging that the negativity hasn't just come from fans or social media critics, it has come from within his own household. He has pointed to years of what he calls backbiting, a destructive force he claims undermined every attempt at harmony, and which he now admits he has had enough of. This rare moment of transparency comes at a time when the Brown family is more fractured than ever. Christine Brown, once seen as the glue that kept the family together, walked away from Kody and the plural marriage entirely. Janelle Brown followed, stepping into independence and making it clear she no longer wanted to be tied down by the conflicts that had consumed her marriage. Mary Brown, who had long endured a relationship that had grown distant and cold, also cut ties, choosing to pursue her own future after years of being sidelined. Robyn Brown remains Kody's only legal wife, but even that relationship has been strained by the chaos of recent years. Against this backdrop of dissolving marriages and shifting loyalties, Kody's latest confession about the role of criticism and backstabbing has given fans an inside look at the bitterness that fueled the breakdown. According to Kody, the backbiting was relentless, and he now suggests it played a central role in destroying the family's unity. He described it as a cycle of whispers, criticisms, and underhanded comments that chipped away at trust. While he did not name names directly, fans immediately speculated about who he might be referring to. Christine has been outspoken about the way she felt treated in the marriage, often accusing Kody of neglect and favoritism toward Robyn. Janelle has echoed those sentiments, admitting that she struggled with Kody's increasingly rigid behavior. Mary, too, has said that her marriage to Kody has been empty for years. Each of these women has expressed pain, resentment, and disillusionment, but Kody's description of their actions as backbiting suggests that he believes the criticisms they voiced in private or on camera went far beyond simple frustrations. For over a decade, the world has been watching Kody Brown and his plural family navigate the complexities of love, faith, marriage, and conflict on TLC's Sister Wives. The show, which began as a groundbreaking exploration of polygamy, quickly evolved into one of the most talked-about reality series on television. From the very beginning, Kody Brown presented himself as a man with a mission: to live openly as a polygamist and show the world that his unconventional family could thrive despite the odds. But while the cameras captured moments of joy, weddings, and the challenges of raising a sprawling family, the real drama was always brewing just beneath the surface. Now, in a shocking turn, Kody has pulled back the curtain, getting brutally honest about what he calls the ugly truth of what really went on behind the scenes of Sister Wives. His words are as raw as they are revealing, and they may forever change the way fans view the series that turned the Browns into household names. When Sister Wives premiered in 2010, the Browns appeared united in their vision. Kody, with his 4 wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, opened their doors to viewers and allowed cameras into their most personal moments. What audiences didn't see, however, was the growing tension that came with putting such a complicated family dynamic under constant public scrutiny. According to Kody's latest confession, the show's portrayal of their life was only part of the story. He admits that off-camera, the fractures were deeper, the arguments more painful, and the betrayals more bitter than anyone realized. While the show carefully curated the Browns' image as a family trying to navigate unique challenges, Kody says the reality was often unbearable, defined by criticism, backbiting, and mounting resentment that eventually destroyed their dream. Kody's decision to reveal this ugly truth comes at a time when the family has already splintered. Christine Brown was the first to leave, announcing her separation from Kody and explaining that she could no longer stay in a marriage where she felt unloved and unseen. Her departure sent shockwaves through the family and set the stage for more exits. Janelle Brown, long known for her practical and independent spirit, later followed, making it clear that she was no longer willing to endure the emotional turmoil that had come to define her relationship with Kody. Mary Brown, who had endured years of emotional distance and heartbreak, also decided to walk away, signaling the end of her long, lonely marriage. That left Robin Brown as Kody's only legal wife, but even that relationship has been tested by the chaos and fallout of the other departures. In Kody's telling, the root of the breakdown was not just the struggles of polygamy itself, but the relentless criticism and hidden hostility that festered behind closed doors. He describes a cycle of conflict that was often edited down for the show, giving fans only a glimpse of the true intensity. According to him, conversations often turned into shouting matches, and disagreements about parenting, money, and favoritism grew into battles that seemed impossible to resolve. Kody claims that the backbiting among his wives created an environment of mistrust where loyalty was questioned and small slights were magnified into major wounds. From his perspective, the show only scratched the surface of these struggles,